Please introduce yourself.
I'm Bob Hogge. I'm the director of Monk Dogs Urban Art, Chelsea District, New York City, West 27th Street.
In your opinion, what is art?
Art is very, very subjective. And I'm sure that this is something that you haven't heard before. It's left to personal interpretation, but at the end of the day, an individual who has a sense of imagination and a sense of accountability. For art to be very, very effective, it's really the artist's ability to communicate, to go beyond their fear, their insecurity, their arrogance, their ego, what they think they know, and to be able to produce something that's their truth. And that is the integrity of art. I think what happens a lot of times is people become confused, and whether it's the artist or whether it's a collector or explaining artwork. It's what I consider the art of the mumbo jumbo. At the end of the day, whether you're black or white, male, Jewish, female, Christian, you sleep with boys, you sleep with girls, it's really irrelevant from what part of the world you're in. It's a very, very individual thing. It's about the artist's ability to communicate the truth and transfer that into the work that they're producing. I think that's what makes art relatable, and I think that's really what's relevant. The work should be judged on the art, not who you know, who you sleep with, how much money you have, where you're connected, or where you're born. It should really be a direct correlation between the artist and the work that they produce.
Some people are confused about art.
Well, as I said before, I think that there's a lot of information out there. It certainly can be confusing. I mean, you could take that microphone. I could say it's an existentialist perspective of an emotional tragedy. It's been perpetrated by a social stigma. There's a genetic factor. We could talk about morphing. At the end of the day, it's bullshit. The work is either right or it's wrong. It's good or it's not. It has integrity or it doesn't. It has a commitment of an artist, or it's got a pulse, a soul. It's got something that's driving it, or it's just something that's being produced. Those are the decisions that artists make. And for an artist to be able to make that, as I said before, you have to go beyond your fear, your insecurity, your arrogance, what you think you know. It creates a level playing field. You do what the work requires, not what you think people will like. You do what's necessary for the work. The history of art, the integrity of the art world, is really based on a number of people that had a major level of commitment, that had imagination, that really felt that they had something that was relevant to say. And that work becomes relatable to people. On some level, they recognize in that work something they see in themselves. That becomes the truth. That's the integrity of the artwork.
Where do you see the contemporary art world today?
The contemporary art world today is certainly being affected by the financial tsunami that's rolled over the rest of the world. Obviously we're not in the business of making food, air, or water. I think that what we're seeing, whether it's in London, Paris, Rome, anywhere in the world, it's that the financial aspect of that has a very, very adverse effect on the art world. The irony of it is that now is a great time to buy art. Now is the time to take a position. Now is the time to step up for it, whether it's for the collectors. I think for the artists, now is the time to use all of that energy that's perceived negative. And I think that you'll see that. I mean, historically, we've always seen that, to really start producing, innovative work, because it becomes very relatable. This situation has created a level playing field. If you look at, there are a lot of great artists. They've superseded, they've overcome famines, genocide, world wars, recessions, depressions. But yet and all, because of the work, it's managed to rise above all of that and not only maintain its value, but gain significantly. But it's really, again, it comes down to the artist. It comes down. The art world is a beautiful place. It creates a level playing field for everybody. Let's be real here. You need a certain amount of marketing. You need to be very, very innovative. Again, if nobody sees it, nothing happens. Where they see it, how they see it, how often they see it, is really going to reassure people. It's a business of perception. But right now there are a lot of doors open, as well as people are talking about the doors being closed. People are talking about the fact that with the art fairs, with things that are happening in the world, it's not as bad as they thought, but it's not as good as they hoped. Yeah, that's great. This is all going to end. But now is the time to take the position. Whether you're a collector, whether you're an artist, whether you're a gallery dealer, now is the time to make the decisions and turn this thing from a negative into a positive.